Hey everyone. So I'm not sure if you haven't viewed the video yet. I suggest you go and watch it. But the video that I just posted was entitled "Teenage Gangstalkers Tipped Off of Recording," and I just want to talk about a little bit of the significance of that, because if you aren't paying attention very closely to the video, you can kind of miss the point of it, and you can miss the importance of it. So, at the beginning of the video, before any directed conversation skits began, you could hear them talking about did the did you get the card? One of them mentions that she's hungry, and she said, "Did you get the card?" Well, one of the things that these these assets are paid in is gift cards, prepaid credit cards, by their handlers, right? They're basically told, here's your gift card, here's your credit card, prepaid credit card, or whatever. Go over and sit by them, by those people over there, the targets, and start engaging in skits, conversations. And that's how they pay their actors, right? Now, pay very attention to that and look at how look at the reaction on the female who asks the male, who I had made a community post about him, and how he got up from his table, which, I mean, the food court was empty at this point. It was completely empty. I have the pictures on there. It's in my community post. And this young male teenager got up from his table as I left to go have a cigarette, as I routinely do. They know your routines and your patterns, right? So somebody told him, look, when this guy gets up and goes and have a cigarette, get up and go sit next to that woman, which is my fiance. Go sit next to her, okay? Which he did. I knew he was going to, because as I was leaving, I looked back behind me and I saw him looking at me. He was glancing at me and, kind of staring at me. So, I mean, he made it known that he was watching me, which is the point of overt surveillance, overt gang stalking, right? So before I left the food court, he hadn't sat down yet, but he kind of made it known he was going to. So I continued on my way, continued down the escalator, had my cigarette, finished up, came upstairs to the food court. And of course, I saw this young male sitting next to my fiance. I snapped a picture of that on my way up. You can actually tell that he was told that the target, myself, is coming back, and you can actually see in the photograph of him he's actually turning around and looking at me. So I go sit down. And a short time later, this young male was joined by another group of teenagers, And this is where I started filming, because I'm used to hearing a lot of directed conversations. If you're not familiar with what that is, I guess you can research that, but most targeted individuals who are gang stalked are also victims of this kind of tactic. But I was prepared for that eventuality, so I started recording. Now, the position of my camera, my phone, was in a very discreet way. It was positioned in a very discreet way, and it wouldn't have been obvious even to them. The camera was pointed right at them, and even they didn't know I was filming until somebody told them that I was filming. The way the camera was positioned was right in front of my body. It was directly in front of my chest. There was nobody who could have possibly known that I was filming them by line of sight. There's no way that anybody could have known that I was filming them except my fiancée, who was directly beside me. But even then, she wouldn't have known because I was holding the screen. I was covering the screen with my hand. So even if you were beside me, off in the distance, you wouldn't have been able to have seen what I was doing. And even then, why would you? Why would you want to know what I'm doing? Unless you were following me, unless you were stalking me, unless I was under surveillance. So they were tipped off. You can actually, if you pay attention to the video, at 23 seconds in, if you listen carefully, you can hear somebody. They look at him, and he says, he's effing recording you. Okay? They're looking in the direction of where this voice is coming from, and it's directly behind me. The camera was sitting in front of me, concealed by my torso. My body was covering the camera. There is no way that anybody could have known that I was recording them unless you had a direct feed, a direct interface with my camera phone, or a direct interface with my brain. There's no other explanation, there's no other possibility. I made sure that the camera was discreetly covered from all angles. Nobody behind me could have possibly have seen it. It was covered by my body. So after they were tipped off, you can see they were kind of confused. There was some confusion there. And there was a camera in the corner of the food court that was to my left, to their left as well, up in the corner, and they even looked at this camera. So somebody said, recording you. They thought that that person behind me was referring to the camera in the corner in the food court. Until finally, they see the camera pointed directly at them, so how is it that you have a group of teenagers who are sitting directly in front of my camera, not know that there's a camera being pointed at them, yet somebody who they're looking at tells them that I'm recording them? So if you haven't seen the video, I encourage you to go ahead and look at that. These contractors will use people in the homeless community as paid assets to engage in certain types of harassment, including directed conversation, and teenagers to do the same things at a discount. This is why they use homeless people. This is why they use teenagers. So I encourage you to go view that video and decide for yourself. Pay attention to it. And God bless.